Hello everybody, welcome back to Back Out of the Case. This is Skyflight 44, aka Sect 44. Now I'm going to be continuing to play Ratchet and Clank Size Matters. I've spent at least 20 times trying to do this to actually get this part, the commentary done for it. I failed many times. Oh well. At this moment in time, I've gone and I've recorded all the actual footage for the game. I might make part 14 for the game, in which I do exactly what I did in the original Ratchet and Clank game, showing off, all the weapons maxed out, some of the armor sets, and just the treehouse, which is the equivalent of the Insomniac Museum and the Insomniac made Ratchet and Clank games. Well, at least the ones that actually have the Insomniac Museum. And I haven't actually gone to that, but it probably would be interesting. Now, I'm currently on the last world of my second playthrough. I've noticed quite a lot of things about this game, and I think I think my opinion holds a little bit more credibility now, because I don't believe I actually played through a challenge run. I might have went point, but I haven't within the last time I actually owned the game. So that's gonna be interesting. I want to see if the last boss is any more bullshit than it was originally, because the last boss, I believe, it's absolutely terrible. Probably the worst final boss in the entire series. It actually manages to beat out Going Commando's final boss, which was, well, to be honest, uneventful and boring. Granted, that might just be it might just be because I've beaten the game so many times. And it might also just be because most of the weapons you actually have can down the fucker so quickly. Especially if you have the Rhino 2. If you have the Rhino 2, that mutant protopet doesn't have a chance in hell. But you're gonna see exactly why I hate the final boss in this game. But hell, all of the bosses in this game are either a little bit weak or just a little bit frustrating. The only one that isn't frustrating or kind of weak is the first actual boss we're going to be doing, which is actually at the end of this level. Now, there's only really, well, if you really want to be technical, there's like 6 bosses in the game, but one's for a Clank challenge, and the other is the finisher to any of the giant Clank, space sections. And I don't really count those. Though, the second time you actually go into the second playthrough, when you actually go and do the giant Clank sections, trying to destroy that ship is a pain in the ass. I went through that first time. It did it really well. Second playthrough, that thing killed me. And I was out of luck. It's harder the second time you go through it, if you actually fail at the first. But this little section is not all that bad. It's an elevator section. Nothing really to be said about it. Out of all of the worlds in this game, which is actually 10, and actually there's less than 10 worlds, but there is 10 levels to the game, and every single one of them has at least a Ratchet section to them. So technically there is 10 levels for Ratchet. However, one of them is primarily a Clank world, Metalis, in which you actually only do Clank sections there, and the Clank's first giant Clank space section. However, if you actually go back there after you get the polarizer, I believe, you can actually go and do a Ratchet section, which is actually pretty decent. However, unless you want to go for that titanium bolt, there's no reason you should actually ever go back to it, which is kind of sad. But oh yeah, we're gonna have to jump off. This section actually reminds me quite a bit of the Lost Precursor City, the very end of that level, and Jack and Daxter and the Jack and Daxter and the what's it called? The first Jack and Daxter game. Precursor Legacy, was it? I don't really remember what it was called. Oh well. I should be very, very ashamed not to know what the subtitle was. I really should be. Especially with how many times I've actually played that game this year. I've played it at least 3 times. Once, and I was sort of uploading that. Then I had to go and beat it again because I actually lost the some of the later parts. Or at least one of the later parts, and I had to replay the entire game to get back that. And then I actually played the HD version 3 times, and to be honest, I probably played it at least once more, so 3 or 4 times this year. Yeah, that's just stupid, I don't remember that. Hey, look at this! We actually have our last... piece of our wildfire armor. So we actually have our first armor set. Now I generally keep to just having armor sets. I don't really ever change armor sets until I get the next one. Mainly because you do actually get a slight armor boost, I believe, if you actually have them all on. Granted, changing things out, like 2 pieces to the next set, generally will give you a higher armor rating. But if you actually have an entire set of, all 4 pieces of one armor set, you actually have these different little you have these little abilities, and I believe I've explained this before. Like, wildfire actually turns your wrench, puts it on fire. If you hit any enemies, well, they have fire damage and all that shit. But oh well. Apparently, I'm still wondering what's actually happening with it. But the game pretty much shows like 6 or 7 actual armor sets that you can get in the game. Like 4 or 5 in the very beginning, and like 2 after the first playthrough. But from what I've seen, it doesn't really seem as if there's any more than that. However, if you go into the special, if you actually go into the menu, go to special and then armor sets, there's more than just what's on the in the armor menu, and I still have no idea what the hell's with it. I guess if I play through the game like 3 times to get that final armor set, I'll figure it out. But I don't think it's a glitch. But at the same time, is it? Doesn't seem like it would be. Again, I think they're just fucking with me. I really think they're just fucking with me. But, actually, out of all the weapons, now that I think about it, in this entire game, I believe the concussion gun is probably one I used the least. Not necessarily in this playthrough. I used it a bit more. But, in my second playthrough, I never really used it. Mainly because the Lancerator, or the dual Lancerators in my case, were just a higher priority to upgrade, just because you need projectile weapons for the bosses, and the faster you get those projectile weapons up, the better. But I just I never really used it. And then when it came to me trying to go and level that thing up, and this is the Titan form, not just the regular form, it took so many shots to kill even the smaller enemies that I couldn't for the life of me actually upgrade that son of a bitch. And I just never used it. It was far better just to go and use the incinerator, I believe it was called. It was you know, the upgraded version of the Scorcher. There's only like 13 weapons in the game, but outside of a few of them that can be sort of dud-like, they're actually all fairly useful. Though, on the first boss and on the final boss, the only ones you're really going to want to use are the Lancerator, or any of its forms, and the Shock Rocket, and or any of its forms. Though, actually, now that I think about it, if you're really good, the laser tracer, or whatever it's called, that laser weapon, would actually be quite useful. It's a really powerful weapon, and it's really easy to use. It's just, you can't actually go and you can't, well, actually move while you're using it. You're stationary, and, well, that kind of sucks. Because you're going, you can't shoot and dodge, and that's a must for that last actual boss. But other than that, that would actually be quite a useful weapon if you can actually get it and at least get in a little bit of time before the boss tries to go and hurt you again. I'm gonna try that out in my next actual in the run I'm doing right now, because I think I am gonna get that part 14 up with all the extra shit in the game. But you have to prioritize all of the projectile weapons, except any of the lock-on projectile weapons, because technically the that sniper mine crossbow thing that we're going to be getting later is a projectile weapon. It just doesn't have the lock-on, which makes it infinitely worse. But actually, I would probably say going and getting the Be Mine Glove and the Agents of Doom up would be quite useful. Now that I think about it, the Agents of Doom are actually the most downgraded version of that weapon in the entire series, because you have to get an upgrade for them to explode. That was their thing in the first game. You have to get that as an upgrade. What bullshit is this? But this is our first actual boss in the game, Mungo, and I'm just gonna throw it out here. And when you actually go and do this in any repeated playthrough, this guy has more fucking health. I'm definitely doing a lot less damage than what I'm doing now. But if you have a level 1 Lancerator, this is going to take a while, long while. If you have a level 2 Lancerator, this isn't all that bad. But if you have a level 3 Lancerator, you can make mincemeat out of this guy. It really does show in the bosses just how much better your weapons get after every single upgrade that you actually go and get. Well, level upgrade. Because going and buying those other upgrades, you may or may not do anything. And I believe this is going to be our third piece for this armor set. This next one. I don't really use this next one though. I really just go straight to the. Just go to the next one.
Armor menu.
Wow! Thank you guys. You are so heroic. I never introduced myself. My name is Luna.
Well, Luna,
We should leave before any bad guys show up.
But I haven't had a chance to tell my friends about your heroic deeds.
You mean your friends, right?
Ratchet, that is very insensitive.
No, I mean friends. They will be surprised it was so easy to capture such stupendous superheroes.
That is very good, Luna. Now try. She sells seashells by the...
Hey! He was just trying to help!
You've both been very helpful. The cameras that have been following you have captured your every move. And now, we have the information we need.
We?
Yeah, we got him. This was just too easy.
Yeah, I was going to say I would get the third armor set, but Ratchet and Clank were pretty stupid in that. Pretty stupid and oblivious in that cutscene, in my opinion. A lot more than they would be, generally.
Where am I?
They must have blasted you good, soldier. You're on planet Metalis in the middle of Robot War 3.
Metalis? The last thing I remember is talking to Luna, and then...
Whew, that was a close one. You better get moving, soldier. You're gonna end up like me.
Now, here are the first of the many, many Clank challenges we're going to be able to do. This one's like a battle boss kind of one. And this is when I start to think to myself, what happened with the Clank challenges? I mean, what happened with the challenges in the game? Most of the challenges, except for skyboarding, are all Clank actual challenges. There are these. There's the giant Clank challenges. There's like 2 others. They're all Clank-centric, and it... I mean, give Ratchet a little bit more love. He's the main character. He's the protagonist. But, these actual arenas, I'm just gonna say, have traps. They're big enough. And they actually have teleporters for the, you know, all the boxes that come in. They very well could have just made an arena for Ratchet here. It's good size. They could have very well did it. But they didn't. And to be honest, half of my bitching could have been solved with that. Well, half of my bitching that doesn't deal with the actual story. But I'll go in a little bit deeper into more depth when it comes to all these challenges in the next part. Because the next part is going to be completely Clank challenges on Metalis, so if you don't want to see that, I would probably skip the next one.
Scrunch? You have seen Ratchet? You know where he is?
Processing of subject 261-595 is now 1/3 complete. Begin internal examination.
I must get to him immediately. Downloading coordinates.